All right.
Woo.
We are live.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome to Talk Nerdy to Me, baby, where we talk nerdy to you, baby.
Baby.
Uh, if you don't know, I'm Amy. This is Casey. Hopefully, you can hear us and see us fine. I think I did it right. Um, Welcome back. We've been off for a few weekends because of both sickness, travel, and then post travel, which I don't know if you've ever stayed up for 26 hours in a row from waking up at 6 a.m. to then having to hop on a plane at the next 6 a.m. But it does something to you. It does something really a lot to you. And so I came back that day and I was like, you know how we were going to stream today? I'm a little dead. So apologies. We're still trying to find the best day that works for this, both with Casey's schedule, my schedule, and all of your schedules, because there's a lot of people to consider here. So,
Like the cat who just jumped off my lap.
it's true. Arwen just pieced out of here.
She's like, oh, I'm not in the frame. I'm out.
She'll come back. She likes to climb up on the top of the chair. Or poke back here and try to get into this space. So if there's a weird hole there, it's because the cat needs to go there. But welcome. This is our podcast that will eventually make its way back to Spotify and Apple Podcasts as we work out the workflow, where we just talk about all the things that we get really nerdy and passionate about. And yeah, I don't know. That's where we're at. We have some people here in the chat. We have Dan Man. Hello, Dan Man. I don't know if you're one of my regular Dans. I have many a Dan.
You have so many Dans.
I know, but I'm happy to add another Dan into that mix. We have Robert and Marion and Zekron. Hello, John, Leviathan. Oh, I love Leviathans. They're so fun.
I was gonna say we have tickets. We're gonna go see.
It's true.
Leviathan's the Mastodon album Leviathan performed in its entirety, which is super cool.
Yeah.
20th anniversary.
It's true. I'm very excited. I really enjoyed the last Mastodon concert we went to, which was my first Mastodon concert.
And it was also another anniversary concert.
It was. They just have so many anniversaries.
Well, when you have albums and you don't do tours of your entire eras, sometimes you just do one album. And that's enough.
It is. I respect that. They were very fun. We saw them with Coheed and Cambria and someone else.
Oh,
I don't remember who.
I'll okay.
There was a three scope.
Every Time I Die.
There you go. There you go.
Every Time I Die.
Which was the one I was least familiar with when it came to all of those. Casey is the bigger metalhead out of the two of us, but he has definitely expanded my repertoire of metal. Most of my metal adjacent was baby metal. Big fan.
Very valid. Also, apologize. I also have a cat eye in a different way because all of the cat fluff when she left just went.
It's true.
Like confetti in my face.
Arwen sheds a lot, and now it's just getting everywhere. But welcome. Oh, you're not late at all, Agent Wharfstash. Oh my gosh, I can talk today. I promise you. This is not my third cup of coffee that I told you I wasn't gonna do recently.
Methinks there's not a lot of truth in that.
Methinks it's a long day. So I have filming to do after this. So fun facts. I am currently in the process of filming not one, not two, but 3 different projects right now. I know. I can be the count real easy. And if you hear a dog, she just freaks out downstairs because she's not allowed to be in this setup yet. She's a little bit too chaotic. So apologies if you hear some barks downstairs.
And given that's saying something, considering the company that we are.
It's true. Listen, you can only have so much chaos in one room before it really just starts not working. But anyway, welcome back. Yes, we do got to do what to do to get through this today. Steffi is one of my favorite people. She is amazing. She is an Amazon goddess that I wish I could say I have seen in person more than was it only once that we've actually seen each other in person? It will be twice soon. Soon you will be much more readily available to be in my presence, and it will be a happy day.
Yeah, only one for me, unfortunately. So we'll have to remedy that very soon.
Hopefully you get to tag along on more things, because then I get to see you and I get hugs, and I like that. So, today, what are we talking about, Casey? Like, the title doesn't say so.
We are talking about acting.
Acting. You know, as Patrick Stewart says, acting.
Oh, my brain went to Calculon, the acting robot from Futurama. I just always think of the line where he's like, I've been cursed with this tremendous acting talent.
You sound more like Clayface.
Well, I mean,
Half
same kind of vibe.
one, half a dozen of the other. Clayface from Harley Quinn, the animated series on HBO, is Alan Tudyk, and is the actor of everyone.
Ah,
Ah.
I must be Billy Bob Thornton.
It's great. But Casey and I both have at least some background in acting, and based on the last episode, we were like, this would be a fun thing to talk about. For the most part, Casey's done a lot of theater as well as like one or two background roles in movies. I did background acting as my bread and butter for a good almost a full year in between some other jobs. It was like, this is fun. This gets me experience on sets and is a good use of my time.
Was it just to not to jump ahead too much, but was it central casting that you used? I think that's
It
the big
was
one.
central
Okay.
casting,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is its own story that we can talk about a little bit. Central casting is, it's one of those things that people who move to LA for the entertainment industry just kind of go through. It's like it's where how you earn your stripes.
Somehow I never did that.
I don't know how.
I don't know either. I don't know how I avoided it, but
It No, me and someone else that I worked with at the bookstore that I worked at for like 5 years. We both had quit the bookstore just for other reasons, and we're like, we're both gonna go do this. So we went to Central Casting, and the thing about Central Casting is like you can't make appointments. They just have open days, right? Like you just have to show up on the right day and hope that you're in line before they cut it off.
at what, like 5 or 6 a.m. Sometimes
Yeah,
people get there like
because they
almost
open at
camping
like
overnight.
7 or 8 a.m., and so basically people get there as early as possible. It's like when you have only general seating at a concert or like a
Yep.
show, and everyone wants to get the front row because that guarantees you get in, that guarantees you get a good spot. You're in, you're out. Like it's the prime real estate of background acting. But what happens is like you get there, it's late at night, you're just waiting in lines forever, and then they just put you through this like cut and paste roster. You go in, you fill out a bunch of forms, you get your photo taken, and then you're done. If you have a couple different outfits, they will let you take a couple different photos. So like if you want to be cast in different types of roles that don't fit with your general first look, they have you bring in like, this is my nerd outfit, this is my I work at a school or a business, this is my like I should be cast in a period piece, or like I can be part of a gang. It like I can't emphasize enough how stereotypical they go
Oh
for
yeah.
in that. I brought like what was like a nerdy outfit, and they're like, no, no, no. This is not what they mean when they say nerd. They want Big Bang Theory times four.
Full on, full Urkel.
Full Urkel. They want you to go full Urkel, or you're not even trying. So that was a fun experience. I also got a different talent agency at that point, specifically for background acting, that did get me other work, and a little bit more of like featured extra work.
You don't say.
Ooh,
We'll get
we'll
there.
get there. But yeah,
You
so
give good face, is all I'm saying.
I do. I am an animated individual when I want to be.
Speaking of animated,
Steffi is the Dapper Queen.
Agent Warfstash asked, uh, I'm not sure if it was to one of us or both of us, but said, "Have you tried voice acting before?" We'll get to that.
Yeah. Yes, we are both of interest. I mean, technically I have, in that it is a part of my everyday life job at this point. So, there's that. But yes, you tell me where you want to start. Casey is our master of ceremonies. I just ramble.
The year was 1993.
A
So
young man was born.
He was, and he looked like a little alien, and one could say that was his first acting performance. So I started when all the way when I was 3 or 4 years old in a Christmas play, and I was I was a little lamb that warmed the baby Jesus
Oh,
in the
really?
manger. Yeah, lines and everything, like lead role. Everyone was like,
The lamb was a lead role?
"Yeah, it was a speaking role." It
Bah?
was no, he talked.
Okay.
Yeah, he talked.
I'm sorry. I'm a little less familiar
I
about
had
that
lines.
specific version.
I had lines. I memorized them. It was an original work. Um, but yeah, I remember people being like, "Oh, you were learning lines and everything. That's so great. How do you?" I'm just I had an extremely legally blonde moment of like, what? Like it's hard? I had that moment, and I was always the go to kid for the children's plays and stuff because I was so eager and could memorize lines.
Oh, Steffi was Mary.
Yeah,
Good job, Steffi.
nice. Yeah, they whenever basically until I was like 7 or 8, they would put some effort into some productions and had scripts and lines and recordings of songs to sing along with and that type of thing. And then it was just like, okay, we'll just I don't know, you stand there and we'll have somebody narrate the thing and whatever.
Ah,
And so it just became very homogenized
gotcha,
pretty
gotcha.
quickly when the lady in charge of it left. But yeah, before then there was some pizzazz to it, and that's what I did for a while, and I started doing. I think it was fourth grade.
Was this?
No,
Go ahead.
so it was third or fourth grade. We did a play, like my class did a play, a little condensed version for the school of Charlotte's Web, and I was
Oh,
Wilbur.
wow. See, Casey's school did actual plays. For us, when we did school acting and things, I don't know where they got these, but they were just like random little things. So we did what was like a Dr. Seuss esque thing about like zoo animals, but it was like, whoo, I'm an owl, da, 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 da. And there was like two of each of them. So we did that. And then we had like the history of Egypt was one of our like school plays, but they were all different songs. So there were songs about the Nile, songs about King Tut, and that one for some reason like is burned into my brain. But I was really really proud of myself when I got to have like a monologue
Ooh,
explaining like the Nile River. And so we I would have like a good, 8 to 10 lines, and then we
what
would switch out.
what was the animal that you? The,
Oh, in the Dr. Seuss one, I was an owl
okay, that's what I thought.
with another guy from my class, and we
Did
had
you
like little
did you Judy
masks.
Dench them like with your monologue into the audience? Now you know that owls are not cats.
No, I wish I did. That being said, like me and him had like a tough behind a slide once. The guy who was also the owl. It Listen, when you tell me I can't do things, I then want to prove to you that I can do a thing, and he learned the consequences of those actions.
uh, Edward asked, "Were they written by the teachers?" The stuff that I did was written by teachers, except for like the Charlotte's Web thing. It was in one of our textbooks. They had a condensed play version of it, so that one wasn't. But when we did drama club stuff.
Yeah.
My fourth and fifth grade year. The fourth grade, since the theme of that year, I don't know if they still do that in elementary schools or not anymore, but we always had a theme every
Yeah.
year, and that year's theme was dinosaurs and paleontology. So
Ooh.
I had a
That's fun.
couple lines as a paleontologist character, but fifth grade we also did a Disney thing. It was mostly just the songs.
Did I do a Disney thing?
You said Disney.
No.
No, didn't you say
I
Disney?
said Dr. Seuss.
Oh,
You
D.
know, very, 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 very similar though. I feel like is that Universal would be very mad that you tried to lump in the Dr. Seuss with the Disney.
Probably. If they sue me, they're going to be very disappointed. I have nothing. um, sorry. Yeah, our librarian went
Yeah.
hard for Dr. Seuss, but yeah, we did a Disney thing my fifth grade year, and it was mostly just a couple of snippets of lines from whatever thing we were about to sing from, and so it was kind of a variety act of
A variety show.
different movies and stuff.
I
And
see.
I was Pinocchio for that.
Why are you always Pinocchio?
I wasn't Pinocchio. Are you talking about recently?
Yeah, but you're always like in Pinocchio. Like this is this that was like the second or third time you were in a Pinocchio thing.
I believe second. I don't know about the other one, but so to give you some context, I did just recently record a narrative podcast for Darley Publishing,
Yeah,
and
it's really cool.
the person who runs it was doing a narrative podcast version of Pinocchio, the book version, and I was Lampwick, the boy that tries to get him to go to the island. I almost my brain was like the island of misfit toys. I'm like, nope,
Nope, that's a different thing.
that's not it.
No, it's the Island of Donkey Kids.
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't remember what it's actually called. I'm not a very big Pinocchio fan. It's a little dark and sad for me when I reach for like a Disney story or something.
Then you should play the much lighter version of Lies of P. So much happier. So yeah, I was
Yes.
Pinocchio in that, and someone dropped out of the Three Little Pigs segment, and so they're like, Casey, you like doing things. Do you want to jump in? And I wanted to get Sebastian. I wanted to be Sebastian
I
because
don't
they
know
were
which one that is.
from Little Mermaid.
Okay, I didn't know if
Sorry,
we were talking about like a Sebastian from a Pinocchio that I just never heard of.
That's totally fair. So Sebastian from Little Mermaid was one of the things because Under the Sea was one of the songs, and I wanted that, and I didn't get it. I was like, no. But then they're like, hey, do you want to be one of the Three Little Pigs for this? And I was like, yes. Pleasure Island, I think that might be it.
Oh, that's fun. H.O.
Yeah.
Warstash did play the kid from Home Alone for a Christmas
Oh
present.
yeah, I saw that. Kevin McAllister. Good
that
for
was
you.
real fun.
Um,
I need to see. Fun fact: I need to see that whole movie still. I've seen so many clips and snippets of that movie, and I've never fully sat through it.
it's fun. It's silly. It's Die Hard with kid
I,
with a kid.
well, and hey, I've recently within the past 3 years watched Die Hard, so like I'm due for another like iconic movie watching day. So I guess it will have to be that one.
Yeah, that was the time where everything was Die Hard, but this, Die Hard, but this.
Ah,
Yeah,
I
but
see.
so yeah,
So high school. Do we want to jump to high school, or are you good?
oh well, so the one part gets really fun.
Oh, okay.
Taking
Go
over.
for it. Go for
So
it. Sorry.
once I said
I'm
yes
pushing.
to one of the Three Little Pigs, still in elementary school, 5th grade, the assistant principal's brother, the lady who was one of the assistant principals, her brother was the sheriff,
Yes.
and there was a point that, and my family knew the sheriff and everything, and they were like, we're gonna try to get him in as like a cameo thing into this show because that naturally flows together. But at one point, I ran down the stage into the audience, running away from the sheriff who was chasing me because he was kind of like the
Oh,
big
you
bad
went
wolf.
Terminator 3D.
Yeah, I Terminator 3D, the Three Little Pigs, and I ran into the audience, and it was a blast, and everybody loved it, and I was just like, that was one of the moments where I'm like, yes, and this is what I want to do forever.
Yes. And yes, I haven't seen the full Home Alone. For some reason there are some specific movies that I've seen so much like adjacent of that I always feel like I've seen the movie, so whenever it comes up I just never watch it. But I understand the acting bug. I did some community theater when I was in elementary school and I really enjoyed it, but it was never I was put in a lot of different extracurriculars as a kid, so it was never like nothing ever stuck for a super long time. But when I got to high school, I started participating in our like theater classes. However, our theater classes mainly did musicals. We didn't do straight plays. And so
Aw.
I was always in the ensemble or like background of different things because I am not a blessed singer. I don't have like a voice of an angel. So I was part of the Pirates of Peter Pan. I was part of just the town of Agrabah in our Aladdin. I did. I was also in ensemble and crew for Dr. Seuss when we did Seussical the musical. And I did something else in Seussical because we did it twice. I don't remember, but like there was I was in the back of a lot of things because I was very shy and not a singer. And so they were like, you can go stand over there and do that. And so when I, graduated from high school, I was like, I don't want to be that anymore. I want to be in control and do fun things. So I went, to school to be behind the camera, as one does.
Yeah, I want to shine, be a big star
Yeah,
in the back.
I was shy. I was very, very shy until about, until after college, where I was like, you know, this was fun. I just, I really like getting to do things. I like getting to perform. I like being silly. I like getting to, stretch my muscles both figuratively and literally. And so I was like, you know what I should do? Head out to Hollywood and go make it big as a star because it's so easy.
Super easy, barely
Barely
an
an
inconvenience.
inconvenience.
Yeah, I didn't in middle school. I switched over to band.
Hi, GT Live.
Woo, hello. I
You were in band? Oh, I did know this.
Yeah, I started because everyone had to learn an instrument at first for like the first 6 months, and then you could audition for percussion, which was what I was really after.
Gotcha,
So I
gotcha.
played trumpet for 6 months, did that immediately. I got into percussion, jumped over to that, and that was most of what I did in
He's
middle
a
school.
drums man.
They had this thing a couple of times where they had a little club thing, and so
Mm.
once a month they would have a little
Get
which
together?
which yeah, you would find
A
like
little
which club
jam
you were
session?
interested in, and so I picked drama club for that because I hadn't done any acting for a while, and I liked that, but it was only an hour out of the day,
Every
once
once
or
in a while.
twice. Yeah, it was supposed to be once a month, I think, but it only happened like 2 or 3 times. um, so I did that, and then sophomore year of high school I was like, okay, I want to try getting back into it. And then I started doing shows, and that happened to be the first time that our school had done a musical because our school was
Oh.
still very new. It was only, I think, at that point, the third year that it had even existed.
Oh, wow.
So
We only had one school.
yeah, so we did a musical for that. We also did Suzical my senior year of high school, where I was.
Everyone did Suzical at that point.
Yeah, I was.
Did you play anything other than percussion?
So yeah, I just did the
Oh, any
trumpet, the
other percussion?
percussion instruments. Yeah, so
Sorry.
I always wanted to do. I always wanted snare the most, which is what I got a lot of the time. But
Yes.
they had to spread the wealth a little bit and let other people do that. So when I wasn't doing that, I always wanted to do the bass drum part, just the big
Ah,
boom. But I never got that. I was always put on something else.
see,
So
if I did drums for a little bit because I wanted them once, and my parents got me them for Christmas, and so I did self taught drums for a while. But I've always wanted to do the big ones where you get to go boom 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 boom.
probably the timpani, where the two big drums.
That or
Because I did that.
the there's a different art form that is specifically the giant drums.
More like Reputation toward that kind of big drum.
Kinda. That wasn't the inspiration for it because that didn't exist back then. But I've just always wanted to do it because it's both a good workout and just super fun, and I like uh, getting to move my body a lot, which is real fun. But you went from high school in drama.
Yeah, so that there was a switch where junior year into senior year. At first, I thought I wanted to get into computers, and I was in a class, and I was just like, no, this isn't it.
Tycho, yes, thank you very much, Edward. That was what I was trying to reach for, and I was like struggling to get the name. Thank
There, we
you.
got there.
We did.
Always chat is always there to save the day.
It is Tycho.
Um, yeah, so
Thank you, chat.
I had a moment whenever I realized, yeah, I don't want to do computers stuff. I was like, okay, well, if I'm gonna focus into acting and drama, I need to go hard for it. So
You have to love and commit to it because it is not an easy life choice.
yeah, so I went super hard for it senior year and started doing a lot more community theater. And sometimes we were gone for a couple of days in school because we were performing for other classes that
Yes.
they were brought to the community theater to see the shows, which is something that we did a couple of times when I was little and when I was in elementary school. And so getting to that full circle moment of being able to be that person for other people was really awesome. I remember seeing The Hobbit whenever I was the play. There's a play
There's a
version of.
play version of The Hobbit.
Yeah, it's really cool. How they do
We
Smog
did
is always
again.
fun.
My community really only had one thing, which was the high school musical theater department. That was everyone went to the auditorium to watch it every season, and that was outside of like the one community like playhouse thing that was in two towns over. That was the thing people did. So I do not know many of the plays that were available at that time.
I mean, that's what we became eventually because we became known for the musicals.
It's profitable.
So yeah, I did both. I did the community theater shows, the shows at my high school, and it was just nonstop until for the rest of high
Non-stop.
school. And then I was like, okay, let's keep it going. And I eventually moved to California, almost the exact same time as you.
It's true. We did move to California right around like the same couple months, which I think is really fun. Did not meet until many, many years later.
It's true. Uh,
uh,
yeah,
Marion says, I think I'm saying your name right, so apologies if I'm not. Marion says that they were in choir growing up and got a lot of really good opportunities. That's so cool. I wish that singing was one of my skills. It is something I've always wanted to take some training for because I really, really enjoy singing, but I'm just not good at it. Or at least like I'm not consistently good at it. Like I can hit good notes, I can carry a tune a lot of the time, but I can't do it in a way that can sustain a song. And so one day I will do that.
Zekron was listing some of the percussive instruments they played, and I like the ending of, and of course, triangle. Yeah, triangle
Triangle
was
Man,
it was a staple.
it is a key role and you get your moment because everyone has to be quiet for you to go ding.
I know.
I was gonna do it with two hands and then I almost dropped my cup.
I always wanted to rock out and do the ding ling 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 ling.
Oh man, just imagine like a Twilight Zone esque moment in a play where the orchestra really gets to go hard in the triangle, and it's just like you're doing this spiral, and it's just.
Yeah, there's a little like gif out there of someone headbanging to while playing the triangle. I'm like, yeah,
That
that's me.
that would be fun.
I always had to. It was tough to reel it in when playing the triangle. I'm like, I just want to go
Hard!
crazy.
But so we both made our way to the great state of California,
we
where
did.
where we have been ever since. And
The end.
the end. But you came out here for specifically acting.
I did, and I went to school, graduated, and was like, all right, let's do the thing, which is not easy,
Not
as
easy
it
to do.
turns out.
No, it there are many people trying to do the same thing,
Yeah.
and thus it is auditioning, auditioning, rejection, rejection, auditioning, rejection, rejection, rejection,
And
rejection.
then find weird little thing that doesn't pay, and do that for a little bit, and then go back to the rejection.
And then go back to the cycle of audition, rejection, audition, rejection. But you did a lot of like plays, and so you did a lot, and by plays I mean like on stage work. There were both like straight plays, musical plays, and you did a lot of like fringe festival stuff.
Yeah, so I had the fortune of doing some shows with people from my college, and
It's true. You guys just like find each other.
listen,
It's like if you separated a colony of ants and they all just find their way
we
back.
always find her almost every audition I ever went to. There was at least one person from my college there. It seemed like because we just I think there's a magnet implanted in all of us that just we just naturally gravitate towards each other.
Hello,
in that
Daniel.
way.
Daniel Martinez.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us today.
So yeah,
We're talking about acting.
I had a lot of interesting times with Fringe Festival and got to do some interesting shows. I think the big one where you've met a lot of people.
I know.
It's either
98% of the cast now.
so most of the people that Amy has met through me has either been from my college, been in this particular show with me, or both. Because there was
It's
a lot
a weird Venn diagram
It was a lot. It was yes.
that
Exactly.
I have like. Imagine like you have this Venn diagram of this show and this college, and then you have the overlap. And then over here, outside of this diagram, is this little dot named Amy. And then slowly, they just kind of absorb her into this
The Venn diagram grows until it
until
consumes
it
you.
consumes all.
But yeah, so I was in a Hunger Games style semi improv choose your own adventure show. It was like the Hunger Games with video game characters,
Mm-hmm.
and I got to be in the original cast for that, and that was a lot of
And you
fun.
were Link and Pikachu?
Yeah, so I started out as Link because I could do Link sounds, and then I eventually played Pikachu and Mega Man. But
That's
Link,
right. Why do I always forget Mega Man? I don't know.
I only played Mega Man a couple of times, but it was fun. Um, I tried to. We had even had a couple of cast bonding nights where we played games together. We had a little Super Smash Brothers Melee tournament.
And that show
Oh,
is where you met our joint friend, Laurel.
Laurel,
Laurel.
Laurel.
And I find that funny. And the reason I bring it up about like this Venn diagram of me meeting people from this cast through Casey, I met Laurel by myself on a shoot for, oh man, it was some Netflix show, right? And so this was when I was doing background acting, and that was like the main thing I was doing at the time. And I had gotten cast as like people in this bowling alley, and I forget what it was for. It was back when I couldn't tell the difference between this show and Crazy Ex-Girlfriend when it came to their names. And so
For me, that was Jane the Virgin.
it wasn't that one. It was
I always
something
got
else
those
that
mixed up.
had a crazy or something like that in the name. But I was on that show in this episode where their main cast of women was going to a bowling alley for some kind of competition. And so what they do is like they transplant you all around the bowling alley. So when you watch these shows, like those extras are hopping around everywhere. Like I was over here in the arcade, I was over here by a different booth, I was over there, but they paired me with somebody, and that somebody was Laurel. And so then when I met Casey,
Oh, real quick. Bye, Zekron. Thank you
bye
for
Zekron, thank
showing
you
up.
for coming.
I was looking down here like you're down here. Bye.
Thank you for showing up. We appreciate it. But yeah, so I got paired with Laurel, and then fast forward like a year, two or
Yeah.
so years later, when I know him and I see on Facebook that he's friends with Laurel, and I'm
Yeah.
like, wait, you know Laurel?
Yeah, we had like, wait a minute. What's this mutual
No friend.
friend? What's going on
Because like
here?
we did not run in the same circles, and so it was just a really fun moment of how like we both had this interaction with this lovely person named Laurel, who is like crushes it at Overwatch. that that is the other fun fact about Laurel.
Yes. So I was asked who my Smash Melee main is. So at one point in college, someone brought their GameCube from home, and it kind of just started living in the community space of the dorm, and it was one of those get good situations where I was like, all right, I gotta learn, and so it was basically if you wanted any chance of survival, you had to be Sheik, Jigglypuff, or
Jigglypuff is one of my mainstays. I like people who
there's
can float.
I'm blanking on the third main that a lot of people were,
Was
but
Meta Knight in that game?
it was that was before Meta Knight joined in.
Okay, that's my
Um,
favorite.
I think it was I want to say Mewtwo. Yeah, Mewtwo was one of them that people were really good at. So um, I always loved Link and playing as Link, but I kind of was forced to learn to play Sheik for that. But yeah, so when we had the
I don't
cast
give a chic.
bonding moments, one of the things we did was we played Melee, and
Oh,
I
back before
we
it was
played
painful.
yeah we played as our characters, and so I played as Link, and I won our little tournament.
Oh, nice.
Um, yeah, Roy was really good. I liked the Marth Roy combo. Um,
But video games really went around.
yeah, it went on for a very long time, and I got to that was the one time I got to go to New York because it was at the Fringe Festival there. So I got to spend 2 weeks in New York and basically just do that for 2 weeks, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sure how I would feel about New York because I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like it, but I really did like it. I don't know if I would live there like permanently, but I do really like the city
I,
a
I
lot actually.
I liked, so I spent a summer interning in New York after college. And so I really did like the city, and when I graduated from college, I was deciding between either LA or New York. because when you go to school for photography, you have two choices of LA, New York, or portrait studio. And those are the three things you can do. If you want to do anything that's not portraiture or like wedding photography, you have to go to LA or New York. And I chose LA because I was a bit sick of the winters at that point and had been so locked away, and it felt a lot more similar to everything that I knew. But I did almost choose New York. I would go back there if there was a job that I really liked that would need me there, because I feel like I wouldn't go there for the city itself yet, because I haven't spent enough time there to really love the city the way that you have to love the city to live in New York. But I would try living there temporarily for a little bit, because I like the idea of it, uh, based on all of the movies that I've seen. Like, I would Devil Wears Prada. Like, I would do that. I identify with that movie too much nowadays.
It's true. It really hits you in a lot of
It
spots.
does. It hits me a lot right now.
Yeah, that's something I would like to do at some point. Maybe even like a bucket list thing is to do a play in New York on Broadway.
Oh yeah. I
Because
mean, that'd be fun.
I'm not good enough to do musicals there by any means, but I would.
Casey undersells. He can sing. He has a good singing voice.
But I am not Broadway level for singing. But I would happily do a play there.
That's fair.
And yeah, I think that, and spend a few weeks there.
Indeed, 6 degrees of separation. We just still neither of us have overlapped with Kevin Bacon, which would be like that's how you win that game.
I'm 1 degree away in a lot of ways, but
I
not.
don't know. I've never calculated my separation from Kevin Bacon. I
It's
have
not. It's surprisingly easy.
listen, bacon math is not easy for me
Bacon
as a
math.
vegetarian, okay?
What
So,
about vegan bacon math?
yeah, but I don't think Kevin Bacon is vegan. I think he's people, which technically makes him not. Does that make him vegan? That's not
Explain
that
yourself.
that's not for me. No, see that's a different kind of like that's a thing I would toss over to like Santi, because it cannibalism weekend part 3. Is eating people vegan?
Hmm.
Is that why all vegans are scary? Is that why people fear the vegans?
Could be.
I don't know. That's not for me. Go bug him. Go on Instagram and go bug Santi and start saying uh cannibalism is vegan and see what he does. I really would like to bother him a little bit
That's
before I see him
that's
on Monday.
hilarious.
That would be fun.
Um.
Anyway,
Anyway, Daniel Martinez is a Pikachu main on Smash. Can't go
nice.
wrong with the Pikachu.
I like Pikachu.
Especially the first game. I feel like a lot of people have just completely forgotten about the first Super Smash Brothers game. I was really good at that, and my go-tos on that were Link and Fox. That was when Fox was really
Ooh,
good,
gotcha.
and Fox was just the anti-Kirby because everyone was Kirby and
You have found it.
whoa.
Oh my gosh. Tech That's awesome. Thank you, Edward. That's true. Oh my gosh. Hey, I won. I
You
won
did
the
it.
6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. Thank you for doing the bacon math, Edward. That really helps me. As a vegetarian, I appreciate you. Anyway, so acting, which is our
Yes.
actual topic of today.
So
This is hurting me.
let's sorry. My jacket is pokey.
It's true.
I got spikes and everything.
This lovely oh my god, Monty Gator jacket that is still available? Not available? I don't remember at this moment. I would have to double check. I don't think it was sold out the last I looked, but
So let's get into some juicy stuff of like let's we've kind of had the backstory. Yeah, Sora Main. But do you have any super weird stories or just super odd
I mean,
things?
sure. I feel like most extra roles are a little weird.
That's
Um
factual.
yeah, so like I did a lot of game show audiences for a while, so I was you can see me randomly in a couple episodes of like the first or second season of Beach Shazam. I pop up as a cheering person in the crowd. I give good cheer, so they would often put me in the front. So there was that. I was
That
on
makes sense.
right. I was on a few episodes of Match Game, not Match Game, but like the Love one. It was hosted by the same guy who hosts the like Real Housewives reunion stuff on Bravo. He had a like a dating show thing that was like Match Game, but it was called something else. Um, and I was on in the audience for a few things of that. I was also in the audience for Candy Crush when they made the studio game show of that, which let me tell you was a disaster
I believe that.
because like all of those things broke. They would suspend people in the air. They would like have them play these giant swipey things. All of them broke. Like that that gig was more sitting there watching people try to repair these giant games than anything else. And that
Riveting.
it was so exciting. But yeah, that was a lot of what I did. But then I got to do some actual really fun stuff. So I did the one in the bowling alley when I met Laurel, which was in the bowling alley that's in Glendale. Like that was where I was at.
Oh yeah, I forget the name of it, but
I don't remember either, but there's like a very specific bowling alley in Glendale that people like to film at. I did. There was the Denzel Washington movie where he is a lawyer.
Roman J.
Yes,
Esquire.
that has Colin Farrell in
Yeah.
it. Um, and so one that shot in downtown LA, and I got to learn so much on that because it was really interesting because basically like there are extras that they hire to walk like all the extras on the streets when people are doing that like filming in a city are hired extras. Like they are not actual pedestrians, they are extras who are walking back and forth and have specific marks that they hit, like turns that they take and everything. And so are the cars.
Yeah.
All of the cars that you see in those takes are extras who are hired with their cars, which is so weird. And so basically some extra like some people will drive their own cars, other ones they really just hire out their car as an extra and have like professionals drive them. But basically like you take the cars drive this way, and then suddenly everyone goes backwards and you're just watching these cars go in reverse as they ignore all of the traffic signals going on up here.
I would just wonder what it would feel like to like if you were an extra and
Yeah,
hired out your car and just watch it go backwards. You're just like, oh, there it goes.
I mean, I'm guessing they pay you enough. I don't know. I've never actually hired my car to be an extra. My car at the time was not uh,
Extrable.
extraable. Um, but if you've ever seen Taylor Swift's "Delicate" music video, um, that she dances through like a little alleyway with all this stuff. That's where we were. That's where like the extras were held, was there in that hotel she's dancing through. That was we were held in the basement, where there was like no Wi-Fi. But while we were waiting to go and like walk, we would either be in that ballroom area or we would be in that little alley with all of that stuff, because it's basically just like a fake little town alley, and then on the other side of it is just Los Angeles, like Los Angeles, the streets. But what we were doing was I was walking along the sidewalk as like a random person, but I was made to be knocked aside by the bad guy who was exiting a taxi and running through the streets. I was made to be walking and he crosses me and like I get jostled out of the way. And so that was fun to do like 20 times. But the other fun thing was we were told very specifically, do not make eye contact with Colin Farrell. He does not like when people just like stare at him. And so I'm like, that's cool. I don't need
Tell
to.
him to stop being so pretty then.
True. But like, it's 1 a.m. You've been doing this since uh 7 or so. You've just been waiting, you're waiting between takes. I'm just like there staring off into space, and then I realize someone is staring back at me, and it is Colin Farrell, and I have broken the one rule, and I was just like, they're gonna fire me. Oh no.
I met him at a job once. He was with his kid, and
It's very weird.
yeah, he. I was like, "Oh, are you going to the park?" And he was like, "Oh, we're just gonna go see a movie." But the whole time he was just on high alert, and I felt bad because like you could tell there were actually a lot of people, Joel McHale included, since he was in your 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon thing. Uh, a lot of times I got to see actors and that were just one of them especially, the guy who plays, I think it's David Wallace from The Office.
Yeah.
Super nice guy, completely at the mercy of their kid, and it's just fun seeing.
Sorry, I had to stretch my back.
I got to see a lot of actors come through there, and it was like a popular store, so. But all of them were just at the mercy of their kids. So it's like, to most other people, they're this, wow, you're such a great actor. But in that very moment, they are dad, they are
Yeah.
mom, and they are doing what their kid wants and are at the mercy of whatever they want. And
Yeah.
it was always fun to see that and experience that. It was
We
just very funny.
Yeah, I there were a lot of celebrities that came through the bookstore that I worked at. And a lot of them that like some of them were ones like very personally important to me, and people were just always like, "Why are you not going up and saying hi?" I'm like, "I can't."
Yeah.
Like they are with their children. They already look like they're stressed because people keep going up to them and asking for photos. I can't be that person.
Yeah, the
Like,
only time I interacted with them was basically because I was at the register, and so that felt like the appropriate time because you kind of have to interact with them there.
I accidentally sent Adam Sandler to the wrong coloring books once. That was fun. I think he was looking for children's coloring books, but he didn't tell me that. And when an adult asked me for coloring books, I'd send them to the adult coloring book section, and then he came back upstairs and had to be redirected to the right coloring books. And now I always remember that I sent Adam Sandler on a coloring book goose chase.
Can you color the goose? Is it a fill in the color for the goose?
Probably. I'm sure there is
Color the
one
beak.
now thanks to that was the cat hair. Thanks to the Goose Game.
Untitled Goose Game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what about you? What was one of your most iconic behind like acting moments on screen?
So this one was actually like really a good thing. I've had some like some stories, good, bad, everything in between. Some of them I'm just like, not for this. But one that I want to mention, because if I get to mention one, I really want to say this
You can
one, which
mention
was,
two.
so at this point I was running low on funds. I think I had like $100 to my name, maybe less, and so I was like
Been there.
panicking, and I got an email or a call or something from something I'd auditioned for, and they were like, "Hey, there's some stuff that moved around. Sorry, it's so last minute. Can you come to Mammoth or like the Mammoth area? All the way in the mountains
Yeah.
tomorrow?" I was like, uh. They're like, "Don't worry, we've got like a carpool thing. Like, we're gonna have a group of you go together, and we have a place for you to stay. Everything. Um,
Oh.
can you? But you have to come tomorrow, tomorrow morning." And I'm just like, what do I have like? So I have to leave in like 6 hours.
Yep.
You know what? Why not? Why
Just
not?
do it. Just
This is
do
the
it.
acting way, and I did. And the people that I rode with there were all people in the movie with me,
Yes.
and we were in the same circle. It was like it was a western, because a lot of western things are shot in the Mammoth area, and so we were there, and we made buddies, we made friendship, along the
Bonds were
way.
made that
Bonds were
day,
made, and I got to.
including bonds with an iguana, a lizard.
That was later.
Yes.
Same movie, but different. I had to go back like, I think it was almost a year later to
Oh, gotcha,
to
gotcha.
shoot another thing for that, and I made friends with one of the people's. Yeah, I think it was an iguana.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I got to be in a western, and I got to. They had footage of me peeing twice in two different locations because
Listen, sometimes you play a character who has a very small bladder.
it's true.
That's just what happens.
But I also got to ride the horse,
You did.
and one of those times where they had to film me peeing, I had to go
Was
back.
off a horse?
I had to get off the horse, pee, get back on the horse.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a whole thing. But that was a blast.
Choreography.
Yeah, it was honestly super fun, and I made a lot of friends and lasting relationships. The two
The sisters.
women, yeah, the sisters that
They're
were
great.
the writers and directors of the movie, like some of the nicest people.
They've been on this podcast. They've been on our podcast.
That's right.
They did.
did
We
it.
interviewed them. I forget what the name of that episode is.
Yeah, I totally forgot. We had so
No,
many episodes.
we did. We interviewed them during a little bit after you came back from the second round of shooting for that.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, Caitlin and Sierra are magnificent people,
Yeah.
and they're just people you're just like, how do you exist? Like, how are you? How can you be this nice and still exist? Like, they're both incredible people, and so I anything they want me to do ever, I'm just like, yeah, I'm in. But we haven't even told you, yeah, I'm in. Just straight up.
I
So
mean,
that
when you
was
find great people, you just keep working with them.
yeah. So that was an adventure going with like and I remember it was also when I had just gotten my new
Yes.
phone, and so I didn't have anything on it, and I was just like, "All right, here we go. This
We're good.
is going to be an experience."
Yeah. No, that's fun. I I don't have any stories quite like that. Um, but I do have one other fun one that is why Casey says that I give good face. Um,
I
so
was wondering if we were going to get this one.
I why not? It was legitimately one of the precursors to doing this episode, and I know so he has a screen cap on his Instagram of it for some reason.
What do you
Uh,
mean for some reason? You know exactly what that reason is.
so what it was actually one of my very last background gigs that I did, and it was for uh, a very small indie movie no one's ever heard of called A Star Is Born, with Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper. And during the concert where they sing together, where she comes up on stage and she does the "I'm up the deep end,"
Very good.
we're gonna get strict for that because it was so good,
Mm-hmm.
such a good impression.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it was for that scene, and so they shot it at the Greek Theater, which is in Los Feliz.
Yeah. Yeah.
Los Feliz. I always want to say it's Glendale. It's not. It's just adjacent to that. But they shot at the Greek Theater. It was nighttime. There were two different nights, and the first night they did it was for fans. So a lot of Lady Gaga's fans got to go there, and someone that I know, again from the bookstore, because a good at this point 80 to 75 to 80% of the people I know are from that bookstore. Um, they got to go for the Lady Gaga fan night, which was really cool. And then they saw that I went the next day, and I was like, "Yeah, I got paid to be there." They're like, "What? I could have done that instead." I'm like, "Yeah, but you probably wouldn't have had the same experience. You got to be in the front row." Da, 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 da. I was way back here, and they would again transplant us throughout the audience sections of the Greek. I did get to be backstage at one point. Basically, a when they were shooting towards Lady Gaga on stage, if you look into the sides of the rafters, there are people like hanging around backstage area or like off to the sides of the stage. I'm in there somewhere. I don't quite remember where I am in there, and I don't think you can really see me, but I'm back there for a little bit. Um, but the biggest thing, and the reason that like Casey likes this story, is so that there's a moment after that, right, where they exit and they're trying to get back to the tour bus, and it's like her and Bradley Cooper, and everyone's trying to swarm everybody because like, oh my gosh, this thing just happened. And so we had to create a crowd, and I ended up in a spot where they're like, okay, all of y'all, you're gonna be the people to break Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga's hold on each other so they get torn apart. And so I just got to keep slamming in between Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper and like knocking into them to try to tear them asunder. And so there's one frame in A Star Is Born where you just see my face highlighted between the two of them, and it's doing that face. So like iconic moment, but it means that technically I am in and on screen during an Oscar award winning movie.
It's true.
So add that to my resume along with everything else.
You know, I wasn't in. I don't think it was nominated for an Oscar, but my first like actual on-set experience for a movie was an extra in the Hunger Games. So
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
yeah.
So much Gatorade, so much water because they were dealing with children. But whenever you talk about like bumping into people and stuff, even with the Roman J. Esquire thing, and like if there's an actual something to it, they would put a stunt person there.
Yeah.
And I know from firsthand experience about that because I was an extra in this show called Banshee,
Oh
which
yeah,
starred
I forgot.
Anthony Starr, aka Homelander,
Oh,
and there was a rave scene in a barn, and um, I just like got to be all over the place. There's a part of me just like dancing with a glow stick. It's great. But there was
it
one
is. You
point
just see him go.
where I was in the biggest part of the crowd dancing, um, and between takes, they one of the characters was supposed to bump into another one because he was falling over and having like a seizure.
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole thing, but they put a stunt person there, and the actor that falls over, at one point I dropped one of my glow sticks, or one of my friends that I had made there, because I like to make friends. That's what you
Yeah,
do, right?
it is true.
Make friends with Laurel.
You make friends
Uh,
with the laurels.
and I dropped a glow. One of I think she dropped a glow stick, and I picked it up. And as I reached down, um, the actor fell or did something, and so his butt landed right in my face. So I just took this actor's butt right in the face, uh, and I was just like, okay, that is something that I can say that has happened, and now I truly know that they use stunt people for any sort of shoving or anything. A lot of the
Unless you're shoving Lady Gaga.
Yes, but I had a lot of stage combat teachers that were the shovies or the shovers, that type of thing. So
Here,
I thought that was
that
fun.
was two baby stories. So I'll give you one more baby story, and then we have to wrap it up.
Well, I was just gonna go more towards what we're doing now, or if
Okay,
anything,
but I want to give one more because I
you
feel like it's
you can have
relevant.
mine. If you have, I
I
don't really have anything else that I can really
No, I
think of.
have just one other little one that I feel like is very relevant to a decent amount of people who probably would watch this,
Do it.
which is um I was in one of the episodes of the Game Grumps YouTube Red show.
Yeah, that was gonna say it.
Uh,
I yield my time for that.
yeah, so the Game Grumps had a YouTube Red show, and in one of those episodes, I think it was like episode 4 or something like that. They have a house party, or they attend a house party. I'm not quite sure whose house it was, but we were the extras for that. And oh my god, have never seen such big mosquitoes in such a small area as that night. Like they weren't the bitey kind of mosquitoes. They were the other ones, just the big
Uh,
long leggy ones. There
yeah.
were so many in the place that they were holding all the extras. It was rough because like we would have to get like taken up this giant hill to this big huge house. So when you came back down where all the like cater like the crafty was and everything like that, like so many mosquitoes. But I was told I was going to be a DJ. And so I dressed like a DJ. And they were like, no, 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 no. They gave me this foam head thing that was like a crown with like headphones, these like rave, like circa Kanye 2004 like glasses, and just put me at a DJ booth and was like, pretend you're a DJ. And I was like, okay. So I'm just there bopping like this in my giant foam crown, doing whatever in the background of this one dance scene. And so like I have a couple photos from that
Was it
are
really warm in the?
no, it was surprisingly cold because it was like late at night in the mountains. Like it
Uh,
was in like Topanga Canyon almost.
oh yeah,
Like it
that
gets like real cold. But yeah, so you can see me for like half a sec in I think it's episode 4, but it's whatever the house party episode of that Game Grumps YouTube Red show is. I am the DJ by the dance floor, just kind of doing whatever with my giant foam crown thing. Um, Marshmallow coming for you. That's my next thing to check off the list. But yeah, that was the other probably most iconic thing. Like a lot of the other ones were just small little things that you don't really see anywhere. But that one lives on.
nice.
Yeah.
I did think of one itty bitty baby one,
Was it?
which is just one of my favorite roles ever, which was whenever I was D'Artagnan in the Three Musketeers. There was a part where there was like a bridge that went as part of the set that moved forward and back, depending on like the scene changes and everything.
Yes.
And at one point, I held onto this rope and it got pulled up, and so I went up and above and around
For
the
what?
for the Three Musketeers.
Oh yeah
Yeah,
yeah
I
yeah
went
yeah.
up and around the bridge, over and then down onto the downstage, and that was really cool. But there was one point where it was like a big confrontation at this ball, and I was supposed to literally swing in and save the day. And so the thing that happened with that is that I would climb to the top of this really big ladder, and then they would there were a couple of people that would pull on the rope, which would bring me up, and then I could just swing in.
Uh-huh.
But one time, one of the guys was apparently very intoxicated. One of the stagehands was very intoxicated that night, and just passed out. Just
Oh
went hit the deck,
no.
but was holding the rope, and so the rope went with him. So um, it was not my time to go in yet, and that was the night my parents and my family were there. And so instead of this big swinging entrance, I started going, and so I was literally I held used all my core strength to hold myself on this rope with my feet against the bridge thing. And so I
Uh-huh.
was just at a complete diagonal, just holding on for dear life, and then I just kind of shimmied up the rope and righted myself up. And so instead of swinging in, I was just kind of like, "Hey, I'm here." That was kind of scary, but
The,
also
the
hilarious.
ropes and hanging stuff is very precarious because so one of the other ones I was in when I was a pirate was Peter Pan, and if you didn't do it right, our Peter Pan, instead of being like, we're off to Neverland doing this, he was just like, we're off to Neverland, and he
The
just started,
spinnies.
yeah,
Oh,
he would
this.
just spin, and he was like, where is Neverland, Peter? I can't tell.
So that part in 21 Jump Street, the movie, where he gets
Yes,
stuck, yeah, that hit home for you.
it really did. It hit here, core memory.
You're like, ah, yes.
Core memory unlocked. But yeah, those are some of our fun acting stories. Again, we've been out here for a while. Nowadays, what are you up to when it comes to all of that?
So it's something I've always wanted to do since I was a kid was be a voice actor, and it's
Yeah.
always been there. And there was one day I was just like, I really love theater, but I also love film and TV. I haven't gotten to do it as much, but I really, really have a passion for that. And I think the way to combine them, especially now with the technology with mocap, motion capture, and everything, it's really melded those two worlds together. So I
Mm-hmm.
want to do voice acting, both in the booth and with performance capture. It's a really big thing for me, and so a little over a year ago at this point, I recorded my demos with Toonhouse.
Yeah, that was real fun.
Did some. I'm so happy with my demos for that. But Toonhouse is owned by Bill Farmer, who is the voice of Goofy, who
Mm-hmm.
just celebrated, I think, 33 or 34 years as Goofy. Been a long
Wow.
time. And his son was
That's intense.
the audio engineer who was so good. Shout out to Austin, who is phenomenal as an audio engineer. But I couldn't be more happy with those
No, they're real
demos.
good.
So yeah, I'm going switching, not just shifting gears a little bit to do something that,
You're just taking the other exit.
yeah, I've always wanted to do voice acting, so that's full steam ahead for that. So absolutely, that's 100% my direction. But I don't know, do you have anything like going on right now? I don't think
I
so.
don't know. So, like, I have always loved, getting to do just fun stuff and getting to be part of, like, a very uh, passionate fandom. And so now that I am stepping up to a hosting role at Theorist, I'm really excited to get to just like be a part of the action, be a part of the experience, get to go along this journey with, everyone who watches it, everyone who works for Theorist, and get to, take style theory to this whole other level. I've been there since day one, and I have such a passion for that channel, and I have such a passion for the people who care about it, both on and off screen, both as theorist or as part of like the theorist fans. And I'm so excited to get to really, you know, do this new chapter justice. It's gonna be real fun.
I'm just excited to see what happens. Well, show other people what happens. One of my favorite things about you is I love your brain, and allowing your creative brain, just letting it run a little wild, I think will be beneficial to everyone that sees it. So I'm excited
Aw, thanks.
to just let you off the leash a little bit for your creative side. So
Yeah, I'm interesting to see what my voice as theorist
I thought
Really.
I'm interesting, so
It's true. I'm just like so interesting, but no, I'm interested to see how theorist in style theory goes from my lens, because like we're not looking to make it a whole other thing. And I talked about this a lot on like the GT lives where we've talked a bit about it, so you can go watch those if you want to get like more in depth. But I I I see things like a movie in my head, right? And where before I always had to make sure that went through a specific filter, this time it gets to be through my filter. And I'm curious and I'm hopeful that people will enjoy that. And as someone who just like, I really like creating things and telling stories and getting to really, really own that is really fun. And so I'm looking forward to, my upcoming reign as Style Theory host, and hopefully I do the channel in its history justice. That's just my goal, is to do that and have people want to come along on this fun ride, because it's more fun with, other people who care just as much as you do. And that is my speech for Miss America.
and
And
world
world
peace.
peace. But yeah, thank you guys so much for coming here, listening to us just kind of talk through things. I know we had a little bit less chat interaction this time, but hopefully you had a lot more fun. You got to learn some stuff about us and our very weird path to where we are right now.
Yeah, and during like part of your speech, I just out of nowhere I had a repressed acting member come back. I'm like, oh, nope, not now.
Okay,
Yeah.
maybe one day we'll do traumatic memories here on Talk Nerdy to Me, Baby, where we talk about all the things that almost made us stop doing things.
Baby.
Baby. Uh, but thank you again so much. I really appreciate you all. So thank you, Edward. Thank you, Ethan, Agent Warfstash. We have Marion. We had Zach earlier. John. Just
Let's.
everyone.
I wanted to see what
Wada.
John
I see you,
Brannigan
Wada.
says. That I know that you will be an amazing host on Style Theory. Wishing you nothing but the best.
Thank you. It really means a lot. It is never anything I expected ever in the world to be a reality. So, like, was a big surprise when that came about. So, I'm excited. I really thank you. It means a lot.
I'm glad we could give you a fun afternoon, Edward.
Yes, hopefully we'll get back onto like a regular cadence. Now, I just remembered that the stool rotates and now I can't stop. But yes, we're working on a regular cadence. Again, if you have specific days that you think work better for you, feel free to leave that in the comments or in the chat, and that way like we can try to gather all of the data to figure out when a good time for this is. Our schedules are a little weird and they're usually very opposite.
Yeah.
So that's part of the issue that we're working through. But we love hanging out with you. We hope that you love hanging out with us. And so next time, just again, follow us on Instagram. You'll see the announcement there. That's when you know how to be ready to come right back here. Or you can subscribe here. That also works. You'll get a notification that way. Either way, thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate all of you. And next time, you will hear us, you will see us, and we get to hear you on Talk Nerdy to Me, Baby. We will say goodbye as I here. You do something entertaining as I fade us away.